All right, what's good with it there, boys? We are double posting today because the deadlift video was supposed to go up yesterday, but because I tried to upload it as a full hour-long video before I split it in two, it failed. So I split it in two, uploaded that this morning, but that was yesterday's training. Today, we have some Yukon bench. This will be another installment in the road to 600. I'm gonna try to film most of my sessions. It'll get a little bit mundane because a lot of training is mundane. That's kind of how strength training works. Not all of us are Larry Wheels and can just throw on our elbow wraps and hit like 600 every single session. There's a lot more sub-max volume accumulation going on, but I'll try to film a lot of it. To make it like a more comprehensive road to 600 series. You guys can see the ups. Excuse me. I'll even show the bad sessions so you guys can see some of the downs. Usually I don't show bad sessions because it opens me up to a bunch of unsolicited advice that I don't really want. But I will show the bad sessions. We're going to try to document a lot of them. So today we're doing some Yukon bench. Again, trying to accumulate total volume. Some more floor triceps like I've been doing. Then I have split squats off of the belt squat, and I have some face pulls and some calf raises. Yeah, we're going to get into it. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to mess around with a voiceover after this so the video isn't so goddamn long. You'll notice a lot less exercises per session happening right now, and that's a transition I've had to make in my training. Earlier in my training session was comprised of like 8-9 motions. I would do my practice on the main lift, try to get better and stronger and skillful and build volume and all that. And then I would do a pretty comprehensive bodybuilding workout for all of the relevant musculature. And I definitely don't regret that. I think it built me a much bigger base. But now I've had to kind of transition to how I always observed Dan Green would train, where his training session would be comprised of like 2, 3, 4 exercises, and he would do a lot of hard, heavy volume on those 2, 3, 4, but it wouldn't be like a 6, 7, 8 exercise long session. He would do a very good job on a couple of exercises. And I've kind of had to make that transition today. So we're going to try to do a very good job on my Yukon, really hit the triceps hard with my exercise of choice right now. Really try to put in some hard work on the split squats, not just kind of clock in, clock out like I would be doing if I had a lot more exercises. Really going to try to milk everything I can out of these couple of exercises. It's tricky because there's so many unique benefits to so many exercises, and I'm like acutely aware of like, oh, this thing does this really cool thing for you. It has this cool effect on my main lift, and this has this unique benefit, and the unilateral work has this unique benefit. And I can think of all these unique benefits to every exercise, and it makes me want to do all of them. But if you do all of them, then you're not doing enough of any of them to see any of their unique benefits. So it makes me have to do a little bit more of a cost-benefit analysis and know it really needs to get done. And I can say the unilateral squat pattern work absolutely warrants a spot. So that's why we're hitting those today. Yeah, not too much more babbling. I don't want another hour-long video. Part 2 of the deadlift session will go up tomorrow, I reckon. Or I'll do like a single topic. It'll go up at some point. I've got it ready. Okay, we're going to try a voiceover. We're going to see how this goes. Earlier today, I was not having the issues with the microphone crackling like it was yesterday. So I didn't do anything to fix that as much as I would like to take credit for it. But we got Road to 600 Bench Press Episode 2 today. Secondary day, week 2. On my secondary day, I press on the Yukon bar. This has been a damn good accessory for me. Been very reliable. I've always found that I like to have something in my bench press programs that takes my pecs through a slightly greater range of motion than whatever my competition bench press does. And I feel that kind of acts as giving me like a surplus of strength. And I notice whether it's historically I've done like a neutral or semi-neutral grip dumbbells where I'm rowing them into me at the bottom, got the dumbbells turned so I can get a deeper range of motion than I normally could on a bar. Pause at the bottom, drive up. Those are probably my favorite bench accessory. I just don't have dumbbells heavy enough anywhere around here. And so I started messing around with the Yukon bar, which is the Titan knockoff version of the Duffalo bar. So it's definitely a cheaper bar. But I like that it's got a more aggressive bend to it than the Duffalo bar. As a guy who does not bench with a very wide grip, when I've tried benching on the Duffalo bar, I didn't really actually notice it was a it wasn't a big enough difference in range of motion to be a significantly different stimulus. So I didn't feel like it was really giving me that surplus of like resilience and strength in the pecs. Whereas the bend is a little bit more aggressive on the Yukon bar, and I've given it a measure. Roughly using a tape measure, and I think it's about an inch extra range of motion, which is perfect because I can use it as a variation where my technique is still relatively similar. So I'm practicing my skill, but I get that observed benefit of taking my pecs through a greater range of motion, both for power off the chest, but also to reduce the rate at which I incur pec strains. So this has been perfect. I've been hammering this for a while. Ever since I first had access to a Yukon bar, I've known it's been a bit of a staple. My best Yukon bar bench, I think, is like 512. The bar is 52 pounds, but I track it as if it's 45 for easy math. So like in my program, this is called 335. It's actually 342, but I only worry about that when I'm hitting PRs. Most of the program is just based off of a pretend weight. So today, my pretend weight was 335 for, again, trying to build as much volume across 4 sets as possible. I believe I got 8 on the first one, which was a lot easier than I was expecting. I was shooting for an RPE 7. I was like, that was definitely not RPE 7. Hell yeah, cool. My bench is getting strong really quick right now. Much quicker than I was anticipating. I'm feeling good. Maybe we'll be able to hit a 10-pound PR this training cycle. Maybe even a little bit more. I don't know. I'm feeling really strong and training is going amazing. So I got 8, and then the next one I did 10, and that still felt pretty good. Wasn't really drilling bad form. My positions were good. And even though I bench pressed 2 days ago for volume, felt pretty recovered. So I went 12-12 for the final 2 sets for a good bit of total volume. I believe 42 total reps at quote-unquote 335. Really good. Man, training is going really good in that regard. Training metrics for the bench press. The road to 600 so far is great. I would like to see my body weight rising a little bit more. I think I showed the scale. Midday, I'm 262. I'd like to get to 270 plus morning weight sooner or later. But the training metrics are trending really well even without the body weight, which makes me suspect that if I can get my shit together and stop throwing up meals, I will be able to push for a really heavy bench press. Things are going really well. I wasn't anticipating them going this quick. So then after I finished up my primary motion, which was the Yukon bar bench, which is my secondary bench variation right now, always been a tried and true. Like I said, it's close enough that I really feel like I'm practicing all of the technical elements of my bench. So I'm not missing out on any specificity in terms of like how I perceive it. Getting some benefits there. So that's my secondary bench press. Then I moved on to doing some split squats on the belt squat. These are not to move me towards my goal of a 600-pound bench press, though you will notice that many bench specialists still do some whole body training because you've got to be able to create a pretty high amount of tension across your whole body to bench really, really heavy weights, but you don't need to be outlandishly strong. So Julius Maddox will do some belt squatting, he'll do some deadlifting, but he's not pushing those to the maximum. He's just doing light to get some holistic body strength. I'm doing these because I need to do unilateral squat pattern work because it is so gosh darn good for strongman to be able to put my back hip into extension a little bit, to get that unilateral stability, the extra leg volume, the glute strength. There's a lot of things that these do for me. And like I talked about at the beginning, every exercise has this unique set of benefits that I find fascinating. And if you do them and you work really hard at them regularly for a long time, each of them has these really unique effects on your body. And unilateral squatting work is one of the ones that I'm like, I can't miss out on this. Here are my legs. They've shrunk a little bit, but they're starting to come back, which I was pretty embarrassed by this video, which I probably is delusional. When I see this, I think my legs look tiny, but I also think I've always had just horrendous leg body dysmorphia. I think the rest of me looks okay, but I see my legs and they always look like twigs to me, even though they're probably genetically my best body part. If I was a bodybuilder, I think I would have some pretty gnarly wheels. And I do really enjoy bodybuilding training for the legs, so I might give that a foray at some point. I was supposed to do my dead stop skull crushers to the floor like I've been doing and you guys have been seeing, but I strained my forearm yesterday. Nothing big, not a big deal in the slightest. So I decided I would give that a rest because when I went to do those, I was definitely feeling it big time. I don't know what I strained it on. Maybe the rows, maybe the deadlifts, not really sure. Maybe I was walking Ode and he pulled funny. I have no idea. So I made a little substitution today to pick something a little bit lower scale that I know is not very taxing on my forearm. So I did some single arm press downs. I've always liked these. I don't think they're
I don't think they disrupt homeostasis and as much on like a set-to-set basis as like a heavier skull, but I could still get good work out of them by pushing myself, putting a lot of volume, pushed them as hard as I can. And then we finished up with just some standing calf raises on the belt squat because I'm tired of having teeny tiny calves, and because my ankles are quite small, I need to train my calves directly, or I tend to pick up small ankle injuries here and there doing like heavy squats and heavy yokes. I just need to do a little bit of homework. I've got pretty small wrists and pretty small ankles, and it's never really held me back. It just gives me a little bit of extra homework to do that my big joint counterparts don't have to do. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate y'all.